welcome to War Chest Wednesday series on everyone's favorite trial lawyer podcast, Settlement Nation, brought to you by Independent Life. As always, I am your host, Courtney Barber, and I'm sharing more great tools with you to add to your war chest for your fight for justice. Now, today we are joined by Michelle Jordan and Rory Herington from Iconographics. Iconographics is a visual company founded by trial lawyers that know and understand trials. They are here to ensure that your client's story is told through powerful and persuasive visuals, whether in a settlement opportunity letter, at mediation, or in a trial. Today, we're going to chat about why you need to be utilizing the power of visuals in your firm for bigger verdicts and settlements. So welcome, ladies.
Hi.
It is great to have you. I'm super excited. I've heard a lot about your company over the past couple months and thought that all the trial lawyer listeners that we have out there, which there's thousands of them, need to be using you and finding out why this is so powerful. So Michelle, I'm going to start with you. First of all, let's get into the origin story. How did the company get founded?
Thank you, Courtney. Well, first of all, Iconographics, we started about a year ago. Iconographics, we started because we know that we have something that we can offer that's unlike any other animation illustration company out there right now. We have a team of trial lawyers who back us, who have seen in the courtroom and out exactly what visualization and animation can do for their case. Having trial lawyers back us, as well as being a trial lawyer, Rory Herington, and myself, who has worked in a law firm, Michelle Jordan, for the past 16 years, we've been in enough courtrooms to see the juror's face when the visualization is shown up there at the end of trial or at the beginning of trial. We truly understand how important it is to get those jurors to understand exactly what is being explained in the case through our visualizations. We know that every case is completely different. Nothing is black and white. We know that every case deserves its own visualizations to be customized and designed to that attorney and their specific needs. With many of these animation companies out there, you explain to them what you're looking for and they kind of give you a demo, and it seems very much like so many others you've seen, instead of specifically what needs to be animated in your case. And I think that's how we stand out. We make sure that we work with the experts, we work with the attorneys throughout the entire project to make sure that we nail it and we get your case explained through the graphic design to the best that we can and to your liking. We make sure that along the way, if there are any questions or something that you're just not happy with, we have the time put into place to go back to make sure we get it right and to provide you with exactly what you had visualized yourself for this case.
And I love that. And I think it's super important that we kind of dive into that a little bit more, Michelle, and sort of talking about why should attorneys be considering using visual tools in their cases?
I think, Courtney, to answer that question, I know just recently we sat in a trial, and I'm sure as many trial lawyers out there have seen, you look at the jury's face or the juror's face, and you see after a few days of explaining, whether it's exhibit after exhibit or fact after fact, you start to notice that they're getting lost in the case, and you need something to pull them back in. You need something for them to really, truly understand the significance of what happened to your client. And I think that is best done through visualization. When we put something on the board, or our clients are putting something up on that board for them, they now are remembering everything they were told 4 or 5 days ago. And now they're seeing the significance of exactly what happened to that client. And it's bringing it to life for them. It's putting them in that place, in that moment of what your client truly went through. And when they have that visualization prior to going back to that verdict room to go ahead and decide on the verdict they want to give, that's what they're left with, those last visuals.
And, I think for everyone listening to, when you actually have a look at some of the examples that they do have on the Iconographics website and things that I've seen, it really does make such a difference. And I think for these trials, when you do have jurors sitting there, it gives them that point to look at. But it can be hard to explain a scenario that you can show in one image or one graphic, and it shows the devastation that's happened. It really shows the extent. So I really appreciate that. Now, Rory, for everyone's listening, I know that there are a lot of animation companies out there and graphic companies that maybe that they've worked with, or maybe they haven't. If they want to do this, what is the process to get started?
Yeah, Courtney, I'd love to answer that. Well, you reach out to us. It's really that simple. We start the conversation. We really want to, you're going to meet us. You're going to meet Michelle and me. You're going to meet the director of medical or forensic animation, and we're going to dive in. We're invested in learning your case. You're going to send us the relevant discovery, whether that be expert reports, police reports, photos, that kind of thing, and we're going to review them. And we really, as a team, we collaborate to kind of develop recommendations. We're going to take your needs and your facts, and then help you visualize the best exhibits that are going to serve your case. So that's how it starts. It just starts with the conversation, really, with us. Yeah.
And I know a lot of these things. People might not have a price point or might even not know where to start. I know that before when we've spoken, you said that you basically have a solution for all types of cases, all types of budgets. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, absolutely. So, we know that there are certain cases that have different budgets, and different cases warrant different types of visualization. So we really aim to troubleshoot, kind of the budget you may have in a particular case. And we want visualization to be accessible to our clients. We really believe in it as a powerful tool. So we can offer, different ways of doing things, different ways of portraying, whether it be a surgery or an accident reconstruction, from a kind of more straightforward, maybe a board, or something you can put into a PowerPoint, all the way down to, a full-blown medical animation or forensic animation. And I think one thing we're doing really differently is still using a 3D model to do our boards. So what that means is you're not getting an illustration that looks like a 70s biology textbook. You're really looking at something that's capturing a realistic medical image to really engage the jury. So even at a lower price point, which would be a board, you're still getting the depth that you get within an animation. So we're trying to develop these really niche, creative ways of telling your client's story. But we know there are different price points for different cases. So
I love that.
Yeah.
So when we think about iconographics, and obviously one of the big selling points and something that I love is that it is founded by trial lawyers. So it's not animators trying to make something fit to an industry they don't know that well. This is something that you live and breathe. You've been surrounded by this for a long time, so you absolutely get what is important. But other than that, what makes you different from the other companies out there?
Yeah, well, let me first speak to that. We have attorneys backing us. We know what works. We know how trials work. We understand the strategic decision making that a trial attorney needs to make. And, with us being trained in theme and theory, we really can collaborate to tell the story through visualization. But other than that, I think what makes us different and sets us apart is we set out that we did not want to be order takers. You don't benefit from just saying, I want X, Y, and Z animated, and then that company developing it. We aim to learn about your case and really create recommendations and solutions to your problem. Sometimes that's like helping you work out the kinks in a case with our visualization. So I think the fact that we're not order takers and that we really are part of that creative collaborative process makes us really different, actually.
And I really like that too. I think having that insider knowledge and understanding of the industry and what you're trying to get across would make such a difference with the jury, because you're speaking the same language, which is very powerful. Now, we all know that trial attorneys have no time at all, but if we want to get down to the nitty gritty, if you could only name 3 benefits of why people should work with you, what do you think they would be?
Well, okay, 3.
Yeah, just 3.
Just 3. That's fair.
Just 3.
That's fair. So I think the first, Courtney, is that using our animations and illustrations or graphic visuals really make your trial practice better. It really helps you develop the content of your case. I mean, we have had seasoned attorneys, decades of practice, saying that watching our animations have shown them really what a surgery is actually like. And of course, if you can visualize it yourself as the attorney, you're going to be able to use those facts. You're going to be able to develop your case. So yeah, I mean, I think the first one is a proven benefit we've heard from our client, that it's going to make you better at what you do. I guess the second I would say is, humans have a remarkable ability to remember pictures. There's decades of research that shows that, you're going to remember a picture much longer than you're going to remember words. And I think as trial attorneys, we've got to capitalize on that. You want the jurors to remember, what you've said, your facts. And I think it's a disservice to clients if we don't engage a juror's visual memory. I mean, and the research really backs that. So that's one of the philosophies, we find the reason we're doing what we're doing, to be honest. And then I think the last benefit, if I have to say three, is I think as trial attorneys, we have this movie playing in our head of what happened, or this idea that we want to convey. But we can't translate it necessarily through words. That's what iconographics is for. Your understanding of the facts of the case need to be projected into the courtroom, and visualization ensures that that's happening accurately, that a juror isn't getting misinterpreting what's coming out of your mouth. They're really seeing it. And so I think that's the thing visualization can do that's just unmatched, really.
That's fantastic. And I mean, talk about three huge benefits. They all bring so much to this. And now, speaking of benefits, Michelle, we always like to talk about, success stories with companies that we have on the podcast. And I'm sure you have some stories out there, maybe some attorneys who weren't so sure about using graphics or animation and ended up doing it, and how much value that it brought to their case.
Right. Well, with Iconographics or any animation company, a lot of trial lawyers are new to using them. There's something where they're going in and trying to decide if that's where they want to spend their money on telling their story. I'm going to go ahead and mention probably our last 4 success stories we had. This last summer, we had Jason Jordan and Nick Rowley of Jordan, Herington, and Rowley. They tried a motorcycle case in Denver District Court. Their client was left paralyzed and she had several brain injuries. The starting and also final offer for their client was only $100,000. Nick and Jason ended up bringing Iconographics about halfway through having this case into it, and the jury ended up awarding Nick and Jason $42 million.
Wow.
We did an accident reconstruction and we did some surgical animations. And with that, like I said, they were able to tell the story through animation and ended up getting way more for their client than they would have ever had they not gone and tried this case using our animations. Another one before that, we actually had Nick Rowley and Courtney Rowley in El Paso County on a fused ankle. Again, very, very little on the table, and they ended up walking away with $4 million on that case. We did an animation for them. And then just recently as well, we had Keith Bruno, who we just recently talked to. We set up a few more cases with him to get started on. He's been very, very happy with our work in the courtroom and out. And he just recently told us today he had very little offered on the table, and he ended up walking away with a 7-figure settlement. So he said to us, and I think it was very well said today, the proof is in the animations. I mean, what him using that, he ended up getting a higher settlement than he would have had he not. And hearing that coming from somebody like Keith Bruno or Nick Rowley, Jason Jordan, Ross Herington, seeing these attorneys and their success stories without using any animation visualization, and then after using it and seeing the turnaround they've had on these cases and their settlement, we know we're doing something good. We know that this is successful.
Absolutely. And this is also coming from, and if people don't know, but I'm sure our listeners do know a lot of these names, they're some of the best storytellers in the industry. So if they're saying that this has helped them and the numbers that they're getting, I think you should all be rushing to the phones right now and to the email. Now, on that point, if someone is very motivated after listening to this and wants to start this dialogue with both of you, how does someone get started?
So very simple, several ways, one of which you can just go onto our website at iconographicsdesign.com, or you can feel free just to email both Rory and I, Michelle at iconographicsdesign.com or Rory at iconographicsdesign.com. You can also give us a call at 720-400-7480. Those are just a few ways as to how you can go about contacting us. We'd love to speak to you about your case. We'd also love to go ahead and kind of show you some of the other things that we've been doing over this last year since we've started the company. I know attorneys are always interested to see some of the wide ranges from accident recon to medical animation and all the different things that we can do. We usually end up sparking their interest or some type of a case they have that's very similar to something we've done in the past. So we'd love to show you everything we can do.
That sounds amazing. And for all of our listeners, I will also put the link to their site in the show notes for this episode. So if you are listening, you can just click on that instantly and get in touch with both Michelle and Rory. But I really appreciate you both coming on the show. This has been great. And I hope that everyone sees all the benefits and more that you guys offer.
Thank you, Courtney. Thank you for having us.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Absolutely. And for all our listeners of Settlement Nation, remember to like, subscribe, and comment on your favorite trial lawyer podcast. And email Michelle and Rory after this. You will not regret it. It sounds like what they're doing is bringing so much value to your cases and maybe can show you some things that you didn't know or how to explain even better. So we thank you once again for listening to Settlement Nation, and I'll see you next time.